this week's episode of Conversational Tea. I am your host, Latoya Johnson.
Whoop whoop. Let's get started.
I love it. Okay, so guys, welcome back. If you joined us last week, you know that I'm doing a series on friendship, which is extremely relevant right now. The whole point is to break barriers between women and just love on your sister. Talk to your sister. You got a problem, holler at your sister. Steph had to pull up on me on Sunday, right or wrong.
I pulled up.
She pulled up. So, hi, babe. I see you just came through, but I can't see. So, it is just important to have a good conversation, which is what the podcast is all about. We are talking about the things that you think that you may not want to say because you might feel silly or you might feel petty. None of that is happening here. We're going to talk about it and have a very good conversations with my girlfriends. So, tonight, we are talking about friendship breakups. Friendship breakups. And we already have our Kleenex ready. Right?
Right.
It's going to get really real. So, before we get started, both of y'all just take a second, introduce yourself, tell the people what you want them to know.
Okay. I'm Pt2 Price. I have a ministry called Rose, Reaching Our Sisters Everywhere. And I'm just happy to be here because it's just time to be real.
Yes, for sure. Quentin, she said she married to you, but she didn't really want to tell nobody.
Quentin. 15 years, actually. 15 years.
That's goals.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Absolutely.
Okay, Steph.
Hey, FB. I'm Stephanie Rogers. I am a mother of 3 and a wife. Babe, if you're watching, hey, Adrian.
Sagittarius, stand up.
I'm a Pisces. He's a Sag. So is she. But anywho, I'm the owner of Set the Table Catering, and I've been doing that for a couple years now. Again, I have 3 children, girl, boy, girl, and I'm just happy to be here to share this experience with Toya and talk about some realness and how it is important to maintain good friendships.
Period. That part. So, Facebook, just engage with us. Again, if you have questions, leave them in the comments. I'll get with you before we end. But we're really just going to have a good conversation. We're talking about friendship breakup, and tonight's going to get real. I have had a breakup with both of these ladies, right?
Right.
Different reasons, but we both went through seasons where we had to break away, heal, and come back together better. So we're going to talk about both scenarios. If we cry, judge your mama, okay? Like, it's really deep in conversations when we talk about it and reflect. It's just like, wow, like we went through that, we overcame it. I know for like me and Steph, I didn't even know or think that we would ever be friends again. So that was a blessing. Me and Marquita, I think it was more of like a healing situation. I don't know, but we're gonna just talk about it. So who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Marquita.
Tell the people what happened with us, girl.
I'll let you warm us up or warm me up.
Honestly, I'm not really sure
Okay.
I think I just was going through a lot in my life. And at that point, I pushed everybody out because I didn't know who was for me, who was against me. I couldn't trust people at church. I couldn't trust people in my family, people that I thought had my back, that stood in my wedding with me. I found out, like, not to say that they were against me, but like you didn't have my best interest at heart. And granted, I got married at 23, so we were all young, but at the same time, it's just like, I don't know who you are, and I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
So I think with us, I didn't know who you were until you started at Cornerstone.
Oh my gosh.
Because I see you, we have more of a church relationship.
Right.
We hang out after church.
Right.
We get together on the weekends, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm very guarded, so really nobody knows me. And I just was talking to Quentin about that. Like, I'm going through a phase where I don't even really know myself. I'm finding myself because I was brought up with perfection. Perfect. Don't make no mistakes. Don't, no accidents, like nothing. So like I try to plan everything out according to as much as I could anyways. But you just was so real and so raw and so over the top. Like, I knew that, but like, I got to see it
At work. Okay.
And so I think now I look back and I'm just like, it was needed, but I couldn't be that person.
Okay.
So then watching you be that person, I'm like, what the hell is happening here?
Right. Okay.
Because you're very blunt, you're very straight up, and I wasn't used to that. And so people, I want to say, they came in between us because they were in my ear, but yet I knew who you were. Like, that's my girl, I love her, she got my back, you know. But then at the same time, I'm like, she's talking to them crazy, you know what I mean? Like, she just, it was a lot for me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because you were a lot, it was because I was going through so much.
Right.
But you know, the issues I was going through at that time or whatever.
That's crazy. Let's pause for a hot second.
Okay.
Because y'all need to know, I ain't even know this. I ain't even know. I am extra and I am a lot. But at Cornerstone, specifically, I know BJ was on me because he was like, you be trying to be Rosa Parks. And I was like, I just can't accept bad behavior, like in my presence. So without calling that establishment out, there were some things that were going on and there were some rules that were being broken. And I was just like, no. Right? And so I almost fell away with you because I'm like, this my friend. Why is she not riding with me?
Right.
And I'm like, friend, you know, so then I kind of felt by myself at the place. And then for y'all that need to know, I end up getting fired. They said that they didn't need that position anymore, but in reality, they was just trying to get me out. And it was cool because I understood what it was. I had rounded me up some friends for that Sis You Are a Gift event, and I was out. But when I left, I was so hurt because remember I told you, I thought you knew they was about to fire me.
Right.
So that took me to a whole nother level. And then shortly after, or maybe before, me and my husband decided to switch church homes. And then it was like, there was Cornerstone on top of the church. And I just felt like you, the people that stood with me at my wedding was not there for me. Didn't even call me to say, hey, are you okay? Where you been? It was just like, I felt so hurt. I was so broken. And that's where like the church trauma came in for me. Because I'm like, they know me. We kick it together. We love on each other kids. And nobody's reaching out. You know what I mean? And then, man, that was such a crazy time. That was a depressing time. Because also in that time, me and BJ was trying to get pregnant. And we was going through that. You remember? Yeah. And then it was like, oh, where's my people at? Yeah. You know what I mean? It was tough.
But I think that's how we felt. And honestly, that's how I still feel. Like, I still feel alone. You know what I mean? And, like, I get it. This is where God wants me to be right now. But at the same time, it's like, when you left Cornerstone and you was like, you knew about this. You know what I mean? I'm like, I had no idea. Mm-hmm. They did ask me. They said they wanted to talk to you. They didn't even know how to talk to you because they just didn't know what they was going to get. So they did inquire. No,
I wasn't.
But do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. They did inquire about that, but never did I know their intentions.
Yeah.
So then that was an automatic wedge for me.
Yeah. Like,
how could she even think that about me? And then you did leave the church. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I didn't know where we stood.
Yeah.
And then I got to this point where I'm like, I'm done reaching out to people. Mm-hmm. Like, done. Because I'm always that friend, like, hey, thinking about you. Hey, you know, how you doing? You know, God put you on my spirit. Which is true. You know, God put you on my spirit. I'm texting or calling. But it's just like, you know, and then you got married. And our husbands, to be real and honest, they not friends. Mm-hmm. So then it's like, how do I invite you over?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just like, I felt like that was another layer to the cake because now, not that he took you away.
Right.
It's just like, it was different.
Right. Because I used to be the best fifth wheel baby.
Yes.
With all my friends.
Yes. Yeah. And we miss that.
Yeah.
We do. We miss that.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell you, like, we gonna love you regardless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I didn't know where I stood.
Yeah. I get it. So to that point about me getting fired, like, to the same thing, I felt like because I knew how you were and I knew that you didn't do conflict and I knew that stuff like that you would shy away from. So I felt like you knew and just didn't know how to tell me.
Right.
That's what I made up in my mind. Right? Which wasn't fair. And we moved past it. But these are the thoughts that I'm going through. And it was just literally one thing after another. And it was a snowball. Then I get pregnant. Then I'm depressed. And it was just like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It was so hard. And not once did I take responsibility and pick up the phone and call my friend.
Mm-hmm. But then in my mind, I wasn't calling either.
Yeah.
Because I was done calling. I was done texting. I was done being the one to reach out.
Yeah.
And then we experienced church hurt.
Yeah.
So then now it's like we just out here. We ain't got, we trying to build our relationship with the Lord and know Him for ourselves. And
we was just out here.
We was just out here.
Ooh.
So then COVID hit. And that's when God really...
Oh, yeah. He dealt with a lot of people.
A lot.
Man.
But it was like the best season of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was grateful He cared enough
Mm-hmm.
to sit me down.
Yeah. For a lot of us, so COVID sucked because a lot of people lost their lives and were sick. So I don't want to take away from that. But for some people that were able to endure it, there were so many lessons to be learned during COVID.
Right.
It literally shut the world down.
Right.
Like everything but the liquor store. Because I'm not going to lie to y'all, I was in line at Captain Cork. Because what else was it to do, right? Me and my husband was at home eating and enjoying ourselves. We didn't have Bellamy at the time. Okay? So, yeah, but COVID showed us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you really love God? Can you worship Him in your living room?
Right.
Are you about that life?
Right.
Are you about relationship?
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we don't want to talk about COVID. I'm tired of COVID. But go ahead. So we kind of told our story. Anything else? Let's take it way, way back, Markiki. Okay. Let's take it way, way back. I think when you were pregnant with Q, was it Q? They were both hard. And maybe it was Serenity. I don't know. One of the pregnancies, you went through the pregnancy, and later on, like a year later, you were like, I felt like you were not there for me. You remember that conversation? And I was like, like it was such a blow to the chest because I didn't even know that I wasn't being a good friend to you.
Right.
And then I felt like crap. I think it was Serenity. And I think that's why me and her got our little bond. Because when she came, then I was able to just try to make things right that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it was through, you were so bold to pull me to the side after church one day, like, yo, you hurt my feelings. You were not there for me the way I needed you. And that hurt my feelings because I was wrong.
Right.
And that was my first experience with another female being real with me in love. I had never really experienced that, right? Because what do women do? Talk about you behind your back.
Right.
You know what I mean? They'll tell the next one, but don't tell you. So that for me was like, okay, she loved me enough to tell me, not to shun me, but tell me so I know how to move going forward so we can actually have a sisterhood.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad you don't remember that. But I can't never forget it. No, I'm just playing.
But I mean, I'm happy that you remember that.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm trying to be bold enough to consistently do it in love.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you've been saying that a lot lately. Like, people don't know how to love you, what you need, over communicate.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not a good communicator because it's not that I shut down, it's I don't address it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm off of you, or you know what I mean? And so
that's
God
easy.
is bringing me out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we got to grow up, we got to address situations because we need each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so while I'm over here mad, you over there mad, like, we're not doing kingdom work because if we're supposed to do it together, you know what I mean?
Preach. BJ, this one's for you. Sometimes you gotta just hit the tambourine, okay? Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think he had us in a season of really trying to find that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I've been very transparent on my other podcasts. I have been used to playing church. I have been used to going to church to sing. Right. I have been used to going to church because that's what it was expected of me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it came a time where God was like, nah, you gonna be real about this or not. Right. What you gonna do? So that is a whole life decision that had to be made. And I feel like that's where our friendship re-blossomed. But I don't even remember, how did we get back together? How did we get back together?
I think we had lunch one day while you were still pregnant. I do know that.
We sure did. And we had been planning, but then we finally just did it. And we just talked about it.
Yeah.
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 And it's been Toya and Markiki. No, Tiny and Toya. That's what we call her. Tiny and Toya. Ever since. Yeah. And I remember you came to a Bible study. And that encouraged me to see because we have been through so much already in the ministry. Miss Dorothy Nichols, may she rest in peace, spoke into us and saw us in the future before we was even willing to accept. I was like, I'm not about to be nobody's minister. We literally said that. We literally said that to her. And Miss Dorothy didn't judge us. She didn't condemn us. She was just like, okay.
Right.
And she just kept loving us, right? Mm-hmm. So I know she looking at us like, look at my girls.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Testimony, right?
Testimony for sure. So I think we good now, right?
Yeah.
Is we still beefing?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so it definitely our relationship changed, but obviously I am no longer the fifth wheel. I became a wife,
right?
And that just was that. Like I had to, my focus had to shift,
right?
And silly me thinking, and I was very open about this. When I got married, I just thought that BJ was just gonna kind of get in where he fit in. I didn't know I was gonna have to like for real put him right here. You know what I mean? So life also showed me, and with different relationships, it's like almost like God had them to be put on pause so I could give 100% to my husband. You know what I mean? Heck yeah, because I didn't really understand marriage for real when I got married. Right. You know, so it was all a whirlwind of emotion, but a blessing nonetheless.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're able to come back around and love each other harder than before. Right. You know what I mean? Like it still just means I just love you.
I love you too.
Period. Do you want? Okay, so before we get to Steph, so what are your expectations now of your friends? You can use me or anybody else. Like since you're still on your healing journey, have you changed expectations? Do you have boundaries now? Like what's changed for you in that area?
Well, I'm still really working on it. Like right now, I still stick to myself. I don't know if that's a me thing. I don't know if that's a God thing or just me being safe, to be honest. Yeah. And then, I just had surgery. So God has been dealing with me on healing my mind. Yeah. Just all kinds of stuff. God will get you. He'll get you.
Won't he do it?
So I think for me, it's just being honest up front. Like call me, check on me. I'm going to do the same for you. You know what I mean? I'm not one to just pull up at your house. But you can always pull up at my house. My door is always open. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just making time for each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Without me saying, hey, let's, because we can go weeks without talking to each other, but still picking back up right where we left off our last conversation.
Yeah.
I don't want to force friendship.
Right.
Like I want it to just be natural. And if I feel like I'm forcing it, I'm not doing that no more.
Yeah.
Because friendship is natural.
I'm with you when you're right, sis.
Yes.
Because ain't nobody doing that.
Right.
Right. I do also want to add, because the difference in the relationship, you and I, like when you first started coming to my dad's church, we were not friends right off the bat.
Right.
It was like when Marquita and Quentin came, it was like everybody like pounced on them. And then I was like, we just gonna see. And then we became friends naturally. And it took several years, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So but then me and Steph were fast friends.
Did it all from the beginning.
Literally, I'm pretty sure we was at the beauty shop.
Yeah.
Shout out to Shamelda, the Bob Queen. We were at the beauty shop. Was I pregnant or already had DJ?
You no, you were pregnant. You were pregnant because I remember the first time we linked up, it was at Red Lobster. It was pregnant. Yeah.
I was pregnant. So that's kind of like different friendships, but just the start of them. This one naturally fell into something great, and this one was like, pew! Yeah. So would you like anything else to add, sis, about us, about our relationship thus far? How much you love me or whatever you want to
I definitely love you.
I know you do. And man, I'm still kind of tripping on the cornerstone thing. You probably was like, Toya is nuts.
Yeah. But I've told you that so many times, not necessarily about Cornerstone, but I've always said you were nuts.
Right.
But it was just different. Mm-hmm. And it was needed, and I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why I'm not there anymore. Somebody else came in, and they can do that. But I think it was for me, I was in it already. And that's what I used to say, it is what it is.
Yeah.
That was my thing. It is what it is.
that comment.
But then you got to the point where you saying why I said it, because I couldn't change that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And you came in with a fire to change it, and you could have, had they been willing, but they had to be willing.
Right.
They were like, where we're gonna go ahead. I was like, thank you. Bye. Like, they was tripping on my exit because I didn't even care. Like, y'all not ready for me around here.
Right.
But then it's been this whole running joke between me and my husband, like, don't go in there trying to be Rose Parks. Okay. So that was good. We didn't cry. We got through it.
We did.
We got through it. So, okay, thank you for sharing that. We're going to come back. We're going to let Steph tell her story. This one is a little bit more drama. Jesus. Ooh. Okay. Go ahead. Tell from your perspective.
Okay. So, I'm kind of like Marquita. Like, I can't pinpoint anything specifically. All I can do is, like you said, just tell it from my perspective of how I seen it or how I felt. So, backing up to how we met. So we kicked it off right off the bat. Mm-hmm. So I feel like then our relationship was built on partying.
It was.
Would you agree? Like
we had our kids on the same weekend, so that every other weekend, so that we could kick it every other weekend.
Yes. And like I think you and I then were both in I don't know, like a stage in our life where we just was enjoying life. Like we liked our time to be kid free. We liked hanging out. We liked to party. And then I just feel like it just got like just messy. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if it was I don't know. You know, like I don't know if there was like some envious, you know, maybe between both of us on both ends, you know what I'm saying, for like whatever reason, or if just allowing other people to come into our relationship and pollute us with things or their thoughts on our friendship. Because looking back on it, even we just had this conversation Sunday, like I really can't specifically be like, oh, well, that's like, people would see and be like, oh, you want to, talking. Like I really couldn't give them a reason as to like, we just stopped talking. Like it just mid-air, you know what I'm saying? However, also piggybacking off of what you were discussing, looking back on hindsight, I just feel like everything, I'm a true believer of everything happens for a reason. So for whatever reason it happened like that, it was needed for it to happen like that, because I feel like our relationship now is so much mature.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's not based on partying, you know what I'm saying? We both married, we got kids, you know what I'm saying? Like even our conversation is different. You know what I'm saying? Like we talk about church and religion and, share scriptures and, stuff like that. Or we call each other for advice. Like it's just a different type of relationship now versus what it was then. Like we wasn't doing that then. We was gossiping and, talking about folks, like, oh, like
it was different.
Almost kind of some Mean Girls a little bit, not a little bit.
I can't accept that. I don't think I was a mean girl.
Not like, but just like, it just was different.
Was definitely us, and then it was them.
Right, that's what I mean. Yeah, so like it's a different type of relationship than a totally different type of relationship than what it is now.
Yeah. So
I just feel like we needed like that growth and that time to just mature and do some healing, some self-healing, on both of our ends. So back on piggybacking off of what you guys were talking about when we had our falling out, I know I can say that I can't really pinpoint a specific reason as to why. You can't really pinpoint a specific reason as to why, or can you pinpoint a specific reason as to why?
Not when it started to shift. Mm-hmm. Like there were some times where I thought there were subliminal posts. Like we talked about that. I felt like, I don't know, it just got weird. And then years later, we found out that there was a third party that was in the midst with just straight lies.
Right.
Which I didn't even know about till later.
Right.
But before that even hit the fan, I had no idea.
Right.
It just got weird. And at the time, I wasn't even mature enough to say, hey, I'm feeling a riff. Let's talk about it. I was very good at just cutting people off and keeping it moving, you know? And
Likewise.
even though it never felt good, it was like I was so stubborn. And it was just like, yeah, it is what it is, you know. But I never felt settled with it either.
Exactly.
I never felt settled with us not being friends.
I agree.
Like
1,000%. So, and that's the point I wanted to get to, is that neither one of us, again, totally different from us now. You know, like neither one of us were woman enough to talk to each other, like call each other up and be like, you know, hey, it's a little weird, like what's going on, you know. So I am a complete fan of Tony Evans. Like I love Tony. Shout out to Tony Evans. I listen to his podcast faithfully Monday through Friday. So I'm just kind of wanted to point out he's in a series now about blessings, and he was kind of talking about conflict. And it's not just in marriages, but in all relationships. Like the enemy loves conflict, because when there's conflict, there's no unity, and God can't work in dysfunction.
Right.
So I just feel like it was like we, you know, as long as he can keep conflict between whatever relationship, whether it's a husband and a wife, whether it's a daughter and a mother, whether it's a son and a father, or, you know, whether it's girlfriends, there's no unity. And, you know, Tony Evans, he says this all the time, that like if a husband and a wife are at odds with each other, there's no point in the husband or the wife to pray, because God's not going to answer y'all prayers, because y'all not unified, you know. And that's Bible, you know, like where 2 or 3 are joined together, the unity, he's in the middle of it. So I just feel like we needed that. Oh,
cousin, how did you get on my live?
I
don't know, but please get off. I love you. That's so weird. That was my cousin Nita.
That scared the mess out of me.
Yeah,
You know, I'm scared. I thought somebody was coming up in here.
Oh,
I'm like, what is going on?
That was so weird. I probably invited her because I don't know what I'm doing on here. But yeah, that was a little kinky.
That was. Oh my gosh.
Okay, to your point.
But so I just feel like women in general, in friendships, like we have a hard time coming and being able to talk about stuff. So I know, like, current time frame, like that's just something that I'm trying to work on in general. Like just my communication in general, my communication with my husband, my communication with my children, my communication with my friends. Like I no longer want to navigate in my friendships not expressing like how I feel, or if there's an issue, or if things are weird, or if there's a conflict. Like I'm calling you, I'm pulling up, like we got to talk about this, because I can't afford to not have God showing up in my house because of a conflict that could be settled over a conversation. So I just kind of think that's kind of where we were in our breakup. I think it was just a mixture of a lot of different things. But I felt like, again, like I said, I believe everything happens for a reason. So I believe that it was necessary.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, because you and I both had to mature in different areas, and a lot of areas alike. And I think that's now, but again, it was never settling to me. Like it always bothered me how our friendship ended, you know, and then it's crazy, like even how we got back connected. So we ran into each other at Kroger,
baby. No, I saw, first of all, we lived in the same area for a good 2 years, shopped at the same Kroger, and never ran into each other ever. And I just was kind of always like, am I gonna see her? Because I knew where she lived at, right?
Yeah.
So we're at Kroger, Stephanie is in the self-checkout, and I'm like, there she goes. And everything, I started like, do I say something? Do I not? Because if I wouldn't have said nothing, she would have never even seen me.
Yeah.
So I just walked up on you, and I feel like we had a little moment. We cried.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't know what I did. I don't know what happened, but I miss you. Like, it was ugly, but it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
then it still did. It had to. So then it kind of switched into how we got back friends. It kind of had to naturally progress. We didn't go fast and we didn't go hard like we did
It
before.
was totally different. Yeah, it was from before.
It was totally different. It just took time. And we even had conversations like, and I was like, I don't even know if we're gonna ever get back to how we used to be. And then all of a sudden, it was like we back at Krieger Park walking again. We on the phone. Now I can bounce marriage stuff off of you, kid stuff off of you. Like we were able to just flow into a new season naturally. And then it was like, okay, this needed to happen. You know, the friendship definitely evolved like crazy.
And in that moment, I don't know if maybe for you, like it just made sense. Like it just was like, I don't know, y'all ever have those light bulb moments where it's like when you going through it, it's like, why is this happening? Like I don't know what's going on. I don't know why this is happening. And then you just all you want is to know, like, why am I right here? Why is this going like this? And God doesn't reveal it to you in that moment. But it was like once it came back full circle, it was like it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like we needed that. Like we needed that time apart. You know what I'm saying? We needed that time to mature. We needed that time to grow. You know, God didn't want our relationship to be based on partying and hanging out. You know what I'm saying? Like he had a bigger purpose for it's always bigger. You know, he had a bigger purpose for you and I to meet. You know what I'm saying? And I'm thankful for that. You know, so people that knew our relationship then, or people that know like the full details of it, may look like, you know, how they friends or, you know, whatever. But, you know, I that's just something I even had to pray about, because, you know, I can't worry about what somebody else think or somebody else's perspective on why I chose her to be my friend. You know, like I know why I love her. I know why I choose to be friends with her. And I don't need to explain my relationship with her to anyone. You know, like it's something that I prayed about, and I'm trusting God in that. You know what I'm saying? Just like I trust God in my marriage, and I trust God with my other girlfriends, and in that relationship, I trust it. You know, and that's pretty much kind of where I'm at with it.
And what people don't get is like a girlfriend breakup is just as hurtful and devastating as a breakup with a dude or it hurts to your core. Because when I ran into you, I called BJ because I had just talked to BJ about it. We were at dinner and I was just like, I don't know if I should reach out because you had been on my heart. And BJ said it'll happen the way it's supposed to happen. And I saw you like the next day. It was crazy. So people don't understand, like sometimes in both of these situations, for me, it was necessary for us to do whatever healing and accept the call from God, right? To then come back around and be what we need for each other in this season.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? The friend that I was 5-6 years ago, this was totally not this Toya. Because baby, we was at Club V. In the VIP.
Get litty.
Like a titty.
Oh, bars. Hashtag bars.
But that's the past. I'm somebody's mama. But
oh my goodness.
I'm somebody's wife. You know, now I go out with my husband. You know what I mean? Now it's just different. Like we just have so much different balance. Our priorities are different. We're mature. Because I love y'all, now we're willing to have a conversation instead of just to be able to ghost. And sometimes that spirit creeps up in me. I was just talking about that to BJ today. Sometimes if I feel wronged or I feel hurt, it's natural for me to just go back to here, go to what I know, cut you off, don't give you no conversation. You know, like that's natural, because who wants to be hurt? You know, being vulnerable hurts. You know, especially when you open yourself up and you tell your good girlfriend everything and it don't work out. It's like, oh my God, is she gonna tell? You know, I pretty much tell everything anyway, but it's just like, you know, these relationships matter. You know what I mean? You've been a wife for forever. You've been a wife. Now y'all can help me. Like, and they both give good godly advice, BJ. They always point me to prayer and scripture, but that's another thing. You need friends that's going to pray for you. In Mark 2, I don't know the scripture. We talked about this on Wednesday. There was a paralyzed man and he was healed based off of his friend's faith. It's important who you have in your circle.
Absolutely.
When I'm down, can you pray for me? Can you pull me up? Or do you want to just see me down? Can you encourage me? Can you tell me no? Can you tell me the truth and love? We don't have that.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, let's be at odds with our sister. Let's be jealous. Let's be envious. You don't know what the next person has going on. You don't know what I go home with at night.
Right.
You don't know my struggles. I don't know your struggles.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, if we just stop picking apart the hair, the lashes, girl, that means nothing.
Right.
People are really going home broken at night, and their Facebook reflects none of that.
Right.
Right. I want people, like I said this last week, that choose me in real life.
Right.
We don't have to talk every day. We don't have to talk every week.
Right.
But when you call me, you have access to me. When I call you, you have access. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Will you pray for me? Man, y'all better get y'all some praying friends.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's it.
Not friends that will pray on you,
Right.
but friends that will
PRAY, not PREY. Know the difference.
Baby, sometimes you just gotta get up and give God some praise. Woo! I felt that in my spirit. Listen, your friends can help you when you are in a situation that you can't even pray for yourself. You don't even know the words to say to God. Your friends can come in and intercede on your behalf. I've experienced that.
Yes.
Right.
Last year, I was freaking depressed. You were there. You seen it. I know it was days you prayed for me.
Yeah.
When I was just going through that, being 36 and pregnant, that's not for the weak. It's not for the weak, but I wouldn't trade her for nothing. Lord.
Right.
Shout out to you, Belsy Welzy. But in that season, I was never alone. I had my husband, but I had women that could relate. They could understand the changes my body was going through.
Right.
They made me feel comfortable, like, Toya, this is normal. When I had to go to talk to the doctor, Toya, this is normal. Nobody ever condemned me, talked about me. They lifted me up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's important. I really feel sorry for women that don't have good friends.
Yeah. But I think
And
you
even-
said it.
oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No.
But I think you said it earlier when you said we overanalyze everything in our head.
Literally.
So before we even get to the person, before we even address the situation, sometimes we can't even get there because
You done made up
we have
a
a
whole...
whole scenario in our head.
I'm so guilty of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so guilty of creating a scenario that's so far from reality,
Right.
and then moving in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me too.
And it's so unfair to whoever the recipient is. It's so
And if
unfair.
you already, because depression has no face, it has no color, it has no gender. So, I talked about me being depressed a couple years ago. You could have lashes on, lipstick, the
And be
nicest
cute.
outfit, be cute, and be depressed, because you don't know what it looks like.
Right.
And if I don't trust you enough, if I don't have anybody to talk to, I'm just carrying that weight.
Yeah.
Like, by myself. Nobody's praying for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's only so much I can do for myself.
Yeah.
But you need people to surround you and pray for you
It's so important.
and with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. Like, as I'm getting older, like, you look for different things in a relationship, so even back then, like, what I look for in a friendship is not the same qualities that I look for in a friendship now, because I was a different person then and I'm a totally different person now. Like, I no longer want to be in a one-sided relationship. Like, I've been in those relationships where it's, like, where I feel like I've been a damn good friend to a person, but like I'm not getting it reciprocated back. Like, whether that's, like, to me, like, I want to be able to have a friend to where I am able to call up and share something that I may not even be able to go to my husband about.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and you are able to give me good advice, number one.
Godly advice.
Good godly advice,
Right.
and you are able to pray for me. But like, I don't want to have that friend where it's always you always calling and you dumping your stuff on me, but I can't never call and tell you nothing because Lisa, Amy, and Jessica gonna know what I done told you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a one-sided relationship,
Right.
and that's just not the type of friends that I want to have in my life.
Right.
I feel all of that. Okay, so we didn't even cry.
We did it.
This is good. So let's see if we have any questions. I'm not gonna. Nita, I cannot believe you just hopped in my live, girl. That is so crazy.
You have to figure out.
Okay, so let me
Let
me see. Okay. Forgive me, guys. Let me just look here. Hey, okay, let me see. I don't know if y'all still on here. Oh, Miss Sleep was on here. Hey, Miss Sleep, I love you so much. Hey to everybody that's watching. Appreciate you. Carly, I miss you so much. Babe, not Harriet Tubman. Stop playing with me. Hey, Natalie. Hey, Donita. Donita was my middle school best friend. Girl, I love you. Yes. Hey, Christy, Asia. BJ told me to throw the tambourine away. Baby, I will not. Kyle, hey, girl. I'm looking for questions, y'all. Turn the phone around. Okay. Well, I couldn't have everybody in there when I did that.
Ask them.
Hey, Tanika.
That will be the time to.
Yeah, if you do have any questions. Hey, Renita. Hey, Titi. Okay, so I don't see any questions. So if anybody wants to know more, I don't know, like drop a. I don't know nothing about live, y'all. This is so funny.
Oh, I can't help you. Right.
My cousin said, I'm so sorry, I don't even know what happened, girl. I don't know either, but you scared us, because where we at, it's just us in here.
Right.
I thought somebody pulled
somebody
up.
came in that door. I'm like,
Hey, Vernita, thank you for watching. Takia, I love you. Hey, girl. I'm so extra. Sorry. I don't know how to not be, okay? Okay, we have a question. Yes. Oh, and of course, it's from my husband. BJ said, hi, Dina. He said, what's a healthy friend count? For me, babe, it's quality over quantity, okay? How many friends should be in your circle? Do we know how many friends should be in our circle, y'all?
So I know, let me just kind of my perspective on that. So, this thing like the smaller the better, or I keep my circle small. That's even something I'm trying to waver out of, because the fact of the matter is that relationships change.
For sure.
And sometimes you outgrow people, and sometimes you outgrow circumstances of the friendship.
Yeah.
So you can still be friends with that person, but maybe y'all don't get into the same things. There's no beef, there's no love lost. Y'all still friends. I just, you do your, whatever. I don't do that.
The access is different.
The access is different.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm all about choosing people that choose me. And I like people. I like to meet new people. Now I don't like to just be out here with everybody, but I don't believe I'm trying to get out of that the smaller circles. I don't feel like there's no number on it.
Yeah.
Like if I meet a good genuine person and we click, I'm more than happy to accept that person in as a friend.
Yeah. And can I tell you, like, I don't know if y'all be watching my story, but I got a friend at work named Carl. Her name's Corey, but we call her Carl.
Yeah.
An unlikely pair, right? But different people, different walks of life can open your mind up to different ways of thinking. I have been enlightened by people I would never normally say, oh, this is my friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think when Drake said no new friends, Drake was a little off. Like, I welcome newness in my life.
Yeah.
My issue is I be going hard fast.
Right.
And then it'd be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, I have to work on that. Well, I'm getting better because I'm married, so that's easy to do now. But I used to just go hard with everybody and give people access to me that didn't have my best intention at heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I got my feelings hurt a lot, even with family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all don't want to talk about that today.
Yeah.
It's blood is not thicker than water, okay?
Right.
You know what I mean? I have better relationships in some cases with people that I just met than I do people that have known me my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So, babe, to answer your question, for me, it would be quality over quantity.
Absolutely.
And I think when you have that mentality, new friends, you cutting off a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't know who God is going to use to be a blessing for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If the chemistry is there and everything is clicking, why not go to lunch? Why not,
be open.
be open to whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we talk about a lot about loyalty. And can I tell you, loyalty was embedded in my head from the womb. Like, you be loyal to your family. I don't care what they do. You hold your people down.
Yeah.
And then I got to be older. I'm like, well, no, that ain't right. That ain't right. Why would I be loyal to something that's not right? And then someone told me, like, your loyalty should only be to Christ.
That's good.
Everything from that will flow.
Right.
I try to be intentional about not putting people on pedestals. Because what does that do? We're human. People gonna be people.
Right.
And they're gonna be, they're gonna fall from grace.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you go into it knowing you're a person, I'm a person, you're flawed, I'm flawed, you're gonna piss me off, I'm gonna piss you off.
Right.
Maybe intentionally, maybe unintentionally, but that's how you grow. That's how you work a real friendship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By opening your mouth and saying, this is cool, this is not cool. Them boundaries.
Right.
Baby, boundaries have blessed me in 2022.
Yeah. For sure.
Because I don't owe you no explanation.
Yeah.
Because I'm serious about my mental. And maybe for me, it took for me to be in depression, for me to really love where I'm at now and just never want to go back there.
Right.
Like, I would never let anybody take me back to a dark place.
Right.
Like,
Right.
there's just,
Right.
amen.
And being in those dark places or those situations, again, like, you don't know who God is going to bring into your life to help you through it.
Yeah.
It may not be the person that
Right.
you've been friends with for 20 years,
That's it.
So when you were going through, we were actually kind of going through it together. So you were dealing with postpartum, and I was having anxiety attacks like back to back. So like last summer, and my husband know, y'all probably about the only two, besides like my mom, but like I just was having them like back to back. So I have a history of panic attacks. So they were hitting me hard last year. Like last summer was rough for your girl. And like, it just is a blur to me. So in the midst of that, like I never knew up until I had to go through it what depression was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it gives you a different perspective on what that looks like when somebody else is going through it, because we hear it like depression.
Right.
And even the times where I thought that I was depressed, no, God showed me what depression was, because what I thought was depression wasn't depression.
It was a bad.
Last year I was going through some things.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't my group of friends that I've been friends with for 20 years that helped me through it. It was a coworker. And anybody that know me, I'm a little weird when it comes to befriending coworkers. Coworkers can be a little weird, but
Not Carl.
So this coworker, we have been working together for a few years, and we, will conversate, like, hey, how you doing? Little small talk at work. But in the midst of me going through this, she was also going through it. And without telling too much of her business, but her husband was deployed, got deployed for like 9 months. And like just one day, it was crazy. Like I remember when I was going through it, like I just remember like crying and praying and praying and crying like every day. Like, and it's almost like I could feel what my day was going to be like. And like I had described it to Adrian, like I was like, when I wake up, it's almost like it's a scab over my brain. Like that's what it felt like. That's that's the only way I can describe it. So when I was going through that, like I just remember like praying, like, Lord, I don't know what this is. I don't know why I'm going through this. Like, Lord, just take it away. Like, I don't like this feeling. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just give me back. Like, I just want to feel like Steph, you know? And like, it just was every day. I kept feeling, I'm like, he's not listening. What did I do? I done made God angry. Like, what is going on? Like, I just was really
In your head. Yeah.
think in my head, like,
Yeah.
he done turned away from me. I did something. Like,
Right.
what's going on? So I switched up my prayer. I just started reading the Bible more, you know what I'm saying, reading more Bible plans, and I just switched up my prayer. Instead of asking God to remove what I was going through, I said, God, bring me somebody that is going through what I'm going through that I can help. So, and I kid you not, like this was one day we were at work. She was like, hey, you want to go to lunch? So me and her, we went to lunch, went to Culver's, sat in her truck and was eating, and she just talk, like just out of nowhere, we just got to talking. So when she shared it with me, it made me comfortable to share what I was going through, and we just both broke down in the car and just started crying. And like, we prayed, and she was in the middle of, or just beginning her walk with Christ. You know what I'm saying? Like, just kind of getting introduced with it. Like, she grew up in church, but she didn't have a relationship with Christ. Yeah. So, like, our friendship was built on that. And, like, she no longer works there. She left. But, like, we still talk. You know, we still keep in communication with each other. And I was thankful that God sent me that, and it was like almost like immediately, like maybe like a few days after that, like it just lifted off of me. Wow. And I just was like, that was, again, everything happens for a reason. You know, for whatever reason, I had to go through that. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was for me to help her or for her to help me.
It's never for you.
It's never for you. It's never for you. It's never for you.
Right,
Lord.
Right. But I had to sit in it, and I had to go through it. Mm-hmm. And she, you know, she helped me so much. So I visited a church for her one day. I was her church, and she publicly, like, kind of shared this testimony, and like it just kind of made me teary-eyed. And I had to let her know, you know, all this time, like, you thinking that I helped you, but girl, you helped me. Yeah. You know, like, you really helped me through whatever it was that I was going through.
You shifted your focus off of yourself.
Absolutely.
So and that's when God answered.
Shout out to Jeanette. I love you.
Is that the girl that we went with to the birthday something?
No, but I'm gonna have to. I want y'all to meet each other though. Okay. Because I done told her about you. I'm like, you remind me of my friend Toya, and
that's crazy.
Yeah, so
we're
gonna have to get together.
That's deep. Let's see if we have any more questions. Okay, let me turn the phone, Lord Jesus. Tanika said Carl be having her week. Girl, Carl is everything. Okay.
It's funny.
So yeah, we kind of covered the no new friends trend. We don't believe in it in this circle. We believe that people can add to your life if you're open. Can you be friends with someone who's envious of your life or parts of your life? I'm going to say, for me, that would be difficult because, hold on, y'all, let me get the phone right. And I've kind of been in this situation. I feel like that would be hard for me because my circle, we need to be loving and empowering each other. Right. Whatever I have, sis, you can obtain. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not doing nothing crazy or bananas that you can't go out here and get for yourself. So I think that would be weird to have an envious friend. Yeah. And if we can't talk through that, then what are we doing? Because little do people know, like, jealousy and envy can rear its head in ways. Like, I know someone close to me who thought she was around friends, and because of jealousy, they tried to kill her. Like, literally tried to beat her head in with a hammer.
Oh, wow.
So you don't know what goes through people's mind. They can be thinking, oh my God, I want this, I want that, not even knowing your full circle or your situation, and become fascinated with something that's not even real.
Right.
Some people don't know how to, you know how we can go to a place, but God will pull you back.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some people don't know, and they spiral, and that can come out in different ways. It can come out in violence. It can come out in lies, bitterness. It can come out in a lot of different ways. So unfortunately for me, if that has been exposed, your access will be limited to Toya. Because it's not just, my walk is not about me. I have a husband, I have children, I do ministry. If you don't rock with me, what are we doing?
Right. And that's an ugly head to carry, is that, because you just don't know. When somebody has that mentality, like, you don't know how far or what they're, like you said, what they're willing to do or what they're capable of. So, like,
and don't put nothing past nobody.
That's
like,
scary.
I'm sorry. Like,
yeah.
And that's so, yeah, sis, for me, it's a no. Next question, please. Next question. Let's see. Hey, Tamira. Love you, Timmy Tam. Oh, that's a good question. How many times would you forgive your friend? Well, we know what the Bible says. But reality is
7 times 7.
Yes. Yeah. But let's be real. In real life, how many times would you forgive me, let's say, for the same offense?
I think the friendship just gonna switch. Yeah. Period. You know what I mean? We may not cut you off totally, but like you said, just your access may be different. Because if you need me, that foundation still has to be there.
Yeah.
If I love you enough, I need you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But your access is just different.
Yeah.
Especially if we're trying to carry it out biblically. Like, we know what the world says, I'm done with you.
Right.
But if we really trying to do what God says, then, you know, I have to kind of look over your offense to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put myself in a position to be hurt over and over again.
Right.
But yet, if I feel like the situation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 I'm gonna be honest, brutally honest. For me, God's still working on me in that department of in that situation of doing it biblically, because I've been in that situation to where it's like I've had incidences in a friendship, and like I've been the peacemaker, like, okay, let's meet up, let's talk. And I've told you, you know, like, okay, well, this is the issue, and they've expressed what their issue is, and then another situation similar has arose, and then you kind of react the same way, or I'm getting like the same results, you know, like insanity. Like, you keep doing the same thing, expecting different results, and like I could forgive you. Forgiveness does not mean that I have to deal with
reconciliation.
Right.
rest.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Perfect
Yeah.
way to
Yeah.
say it.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
forgiveness does not mean reconciliation.
Yeah.
Like, I forgive you for whatever the situation is, but now I know where my place is with you, and I know I just can't rock with you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing better than a good understanding.
yeah,
Right.
Right.
yeah,
So once people show you who they are,
more than one,
And you
More
have
than
to
once.
know that about
Mhm.
that person.
Absolutely.
Though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
absolutely.
and then know when the relationship is seasonal. I've talked about holding on to dead relationships. If it doesn't bear good fruit, what are we doing? It doesn't mean it's a beef, but maybe you're just not ready to go where I'm going.
It's good.
Hopefully you get it,
Yeah.
but if you don't, I can't allow you to stunt my growth.
It's
Right.
good.
Right.
And what happens when you hold on to something dead? You'll
You
begin
start to die too.
to die.
Yeah.
And I'm at a place
Yeah.
in my life where it's literally up for me and mine. Like, I don't even have time to entertain anything that looks like me going backwards.
Right.
For sure.
Anything. I mean, people, jobs, anything.
Yeah.
And I'm so solid in that. And I'm telling you, I feel so much freedom in that. Like, because it's a choice. I don't have to entertain BS.
Right.
Right.
From nobody.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't care if that's your cousin, your auntie, your mama. I don't have to entertain BS. And I think some, like us, black people, have been wired to just take it and sweep it under the rug and just don't heal, just keep going. Nah, it's time out for acting like stuff is not happening.
Right.
No.
It's good.
So if
especially
you,
when it's coming from family. We have a really bad
Especially-
habit of doing it when it's coming from family.
yeah, and it's like, no, so many things get swept under the rug, and then you're not healing.
Mhm.
Healing is beautiful. That's, for me, that's the only way to look at it. You're healing, that means it's getting better,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What happens if you have a wound that's untreated?
Right.
It gets infected.
It's good.
You could get your leg amputated, Lord Jesus. Like,
Truth.
I'm not about to
That's
die because I can't let go.
Yeah.
What if you holding on is setting this person backwards? What if you need to let go so they can grow?
Right.
I'm telling you, if we can just realize that your walk is just, we've been saying this for years, it's literally not even about me. Everything I have overcome to this day, to this second, is to help somebody else.
Come on.
So it changes the way you get through your storm.
Right.
How am I looking at it? Yeah, Lord, it sucks right now, but I know it's going to be a Tamika
Yeah.
that's going to need this from me.
Right.
It's going to be a Shay Shay. Like, somebody's going to be blessed by my testimony, be blessed by me passing the test.
Right.
Right? And that's not everybody. Like, this ministry, this walk is not for the weak. So,
Yeah.
yes, I love the Lord. I
Right.
cuss a little. I'm not always happy and joyful. But the Lord chose me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
He chose me, flaws and all. I'm trying to be better or whatever, but
Right.
we gotta take off the facade, baby
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
We gotta stop being
Yeah.
fake.
It's a process.
You cannot gain anything by
Yeah.
being fake.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And this is coming from a person that used to be fake. Let's
Yeah.
Miss Glenda Griffin, she asked me how I was doing one Sunday, and I was like, I'm great. She was like, baby, you know how she do. She looked through your soul. She was like, baby, you know you can tell people how. I was like, like,
she got me.
I'm like, right. So what's wrong with telling somebody, you know, I'm not doing well. I'm here, but I'm not doing all that great today. Like, what's wrong with just being honest?
Right.
What do you have to lose?
Right.
What? Honey, I go home to a man that loves me, kids that love me. The world cannot even shake me at this point, girl. Nothing surprises me. People gonna be people until they can't be people no more.
Right.
But my Toya's decisions are Toya's decisions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And who you allow to have access is who you allow to have access.
Yeah, and it's a privilege. For me, I just take me so serious now. Like, it's really a privilege to be in my presence. And I don't mean that in a cocky way. If you can't get with the ministry, the growth, the elevation, I'm going to love you at a distance. If you need me, I got you. But you're not going to hold me back.
Right.
And I allowed people to mishandle Toya.
Yeah.
I was a yes person. Said yes when I really meant no.
Oh yeah.
Laughed out of discomfort.
I've been there.
No, I don't have, Toya, you don't have to do that. Girl, get up and leave. Say no. No is a complete sentence.
Right.
Yeah.
Period.
Period, Pooh. Amen.
Amen.
This my daddy tambourine too. I want y'all to know. Okay, we're gonna. How long we been on here? Okay, we've been on 1 hour and 6 minutes. And let me tell you what Bishop said. When somebody when you doing something, you get in and you get out. You say what you're supposed to say and you leave and don't linger because they won't want you to come back. Okay? Daddy said that.
He did say that.
Cousin, I love you. Daisy said she cussed a little too. Sis, we got to work on that. It ain't cute. It ain't cute. Hi, Tiana. Okay, we're going to do this one last question and then we're going to get off to Kia. She said, how do you find good balance between husband, kids, business, work, and your friends?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's a good question. I'll start. Home is your first ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Period. If anything would take me from BJ, well, to me it's out the house, but BJ, Gigi, DJ, and Bellamy, no. And a friend wouldn't even ask you to press them limits.
Mm-hmm.
A friend would not impede on your home.
Right.
There has to be understanding in the friendship. So for me, when you honor the gift that God gave you, which is your family, I think the balance naturally happens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
What you think?
And I think I'm in this season of taking care of myself first. And at first I thought that sounded selfish, but if I'm in my right mind, if I'm happy, if I'm healthy, then my home is going to thrive.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And everything connected to me will thrive.
Absolutely.
So I agree with you. Your home is first,
Yes.
and everything else just falls into place. If I can't do it, no is no.
Mm-hmm.
I used to want to just show up
Mm-hmm.
to be that friend, like you said, didn't want to be mumbling, getting ready,
Mm-hmm.
and would still show up. But now I don't mind saying no.
Yeah, it was so draining,
Yeah.
right? Doing
Yes.
that, just always
Yes.
being on the go.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
no, take
Yeah.
time to freaking rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Lord rested.
Right. And God can't talk to you. But you know what? Like, I got beat up about that because God can't speak to you when you're moving consistently. Like,
Yes.
you have to rest
You have to
Yeah.
be
in
still.
order for Him to speak to you. And
Yeah.
He will sit you down
Down.
if you don't sit down on your own.
And that's what you don't want.
And yeah.
Ooh, you don't want the Lord to sit you down,
don't.
people.
You don't.
Because it ain't cute. It's worse than time out,
It's
baby.
better to do it by choice.
Right. It's better to be obedient. Like,
Yes.
for real.
Yeah.
Stop going against the grain.
Yeah.
He said what he said.
Right.
He
Right.
said what he said. What do you think about balance stuff?
I agree. I mean, y'all gave both explanations. Definitely, my family come first, and everything else after that falls underneath. And all you could do is pray that your friends understand that. So, and
I
if
think your
not,
friends would.
you know, we talk about it and
Right.
we move on.
Yeah.
And if not, it is
Yeah.
what it is.
Because look, it's been very real conversations like this. Can you get out tonight? Girl, I don't know. Husband said I've been doing a little too much.
Mhm.
Right?
For real.
And then we had to sit down.
Yeah. Like, you gotta sit down.
Not
You
tonight.
got- not tonight.
I ain't gonna be able to do it, girl. I ain't gonna be able to do it.
And it's thank you, Lord. But it's understood though.
Yeah.
It's been time, like for us, you know, girl, Adrian said, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just like, girl, I get it. We'll link another day.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not mad.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, that's my person. Quentin's your person. Adrian's your person.
Right.
If me and you off, you still gonna have your man.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I
For
mean?
sure.
We're going home to them. So it just doesn't make sense to mess up home for relationships that may not even be solid for real. What God promised me and my husband, that's between us.
Right.
So,
Yep.
unfortunately, I can't let nobody.
Come in between that. Yeah.
Note to self. I told y'all last week I'm hiding my husband from the world. I'm gonna have BJ on this podcast one day. I don't play about mine.
No, she
Ooh,
don't.
I really don't. And I tell BJ all the time, I just wish I would. I wish somebody would really try me, because sis, I'm about that life. Okay, I'm gonna be done before I be done said something real crazy. Okay, okay, so thank y'all for watching. I'm gonna upload this. It'll be ready on Monday if you wanna watch again on YouTube or download the podcast. Thank you in advance. Love you guys. Bye.